Salt Papi beats King Kenny via round 3 knockout. And yes, I called it. I predicted it. I said Salt Papi would knock out King Kenny, and he did. Decent fight there in my opinion. Salt Papi and King Kenny. I thought it was 1-1 before the stoppage, but I think it was clear to see that Salt Papi was clearly getting to King Kenny in that fight, in my opinion, though. And Salt Papi's the well-deserved winner. I've seen after the fight, King Kenny's claiming that it might have been an elbow, but no, I've looked back at it from different angles now, and Salt Papi definitely won that fight fair and square. It was interesting. I thought first round Salt Papi definitely took. I thought he came out looking decent. Salt Papi was the one throwing the better shots and the more volume, and it was a bit messy at times when Salt Papi had his moments. Like Salt Papi would time a good explosive moment, and then he'd land some decent shots. They'd both fall into the clinch, and it'd be a bit scrappy at times. And that's what happened with a lot of Salt Papi's explosive moments. He'd be able to land some shots, and he'd fall right into the clinch. He's accurate with his shots. I mean, he's very quick as well, and he's unpredictable, Salt Papi. But again, I said it before the fight as well, and I'm also saying it after Salt Papi got the win. I still think Salt Papi's better when he was fat, because I feel like he set up his shots much better, and he looked more like a boxer when he was actually fat, surprisingly, with how with how he was setting up his shots and how he was throwing his shots. He was a lot less scrappy, in my opinion, when he was fat. Now, at times, he's explosive and quick with his shots still, and he's accurate, and he times his moments well. Salt Papi does. But he's more scrappy now, in my opinion. Which, in a way, he's unpredictable in those scrappy moments. But again, at times in the fight, King Kenny in those clinches was showing that he was the stronger guy. Salt Papi ended up on the floor a few times after those clinches. And King Kenny was the stronger guy, using his strength quite a bit at times, which, King Kenny did well. Second round, we go into it, and, Salt Papi again, was having his moments, quick with his shots. Then, they're both in the clinch a bit. Kenny was also able to, try and get his jab going quite a bit more in that second round. Followed up with the backhand a bit, but nothing that really troubled Salt Papi came from King Kenny at all. King Kenny never really troubled Salt Papi in that fight. Salt Papi is trying to find ways around the jab of King Kenny, which he did eventually do, of course. King Kenny is decent at being able to keep you at bay with your lead hand, and that is what he was able to do to Salt Papi at times in that second round, but he wasn't always able to keep Papi off him. Salt Papi, just came in unpredictable moments, and in ways, as I said, it might have been good that he was kind of scrappy, because it made it more unpredictable for King Kenny to be able to deal with and keep Salt Papi at bay instead of just standing there and taking the shots. He came in, was unpredictable when he was, and got some good sneaky shots in there as well when Salt Papi did come rushing in a few times during the fight. Third round, of course, Salt Papi came out looking great in that round, and it was such a sneaky shot that caught King Kenny off guard as well. And literally, Salt Papi laid King Kenny out. King Kenny, his head was like all over the place when he was trying to get up, using the ropes. I mean, King Kenny was all over the place. I actually thought that the ref was going to let the fight go on. And I was shouting not for him to stop it, because honestly, I honestly thought the ref was going to let Kenny continue, and thank God he didn't, because that wouldn't have ended well at all. But Kenny was all over the place when he was getting up. I'm surprised he actually got back up to his feet, but he was falling in the ropes. His head was screwed when he was trying to get up. Honestly, it was brutal from Salt Papi. It was absolutely brutal from Salt Papi, to be honest with you. And I knew it. I just think King Kenny leaves his chin too high up in the air, and that's kind of what cost him at times. I've now seen loads of people saying that King Kenny is one of the most overrated influencer boxers that there are out there now. I mean, he has lost 4 times. I mean, that is one thing to say as well. He has lost 4 times now, King Kenny. So you can't really fully argue with it. I mean, but again, he hasn't. King Kenny's lost to some good top guys at the end of the day, though. Like, there's no shame in losing to Salt Papi. There's no shame in really losing to Anthony Taylor, if we're being completely honest. But at the end of the day, I mean, the face temper loss for King Kenny didn't age too well, but he'd probably win that fight now. But I mean, yeah, I think I'm glad Soul Pappy won the fight. I thought, at the end, King Kenny was getting a little too arrogant, a bit too big for his boots in the end, in my opinion. King Kenny was. And just all the stuff going on with 6 rounds. Salt Pappy accepted immediately. Kenny was still going on about it for a bit. But again, Salt Pappy didn't need 6 rounds. He didn't even need 5 rounds. He got him out of there in 3. And Am was looking great throughout. Kenny didn't really cause Salt Pappy any problems whatsoever. Yes, at times, as I said, Kenny was getting some good success with his jab, but it's not like Salt Pappy was kept at bay for too long for it at all. Salt Pappy was unpredictable with his moments, and he, as I said, he's accurate. He is very accurate with his shots, Salt Pappy is, and he's very quick as well. And the sneaky shots that he can land, they really always do get, they get to you. And King Kenny really felt the effects of it today. And the shot, and, some good short shots that were able to get Kenny out of there today as well to finish the fight. It was a very good way to end the fight from Salt Pappy, 100%. You could say he was probably fighter of the night overall, in my opinion, after that performance. It's a big win against King Kenny. It's Salt Pappy's biggest win of his influencer boxing career, 100% it is. But yeah, Salt Pappy versus Anison Gibb next. That's a very interesting fight, in my opinion. It's a very interesting one. I don't know what other fight there would be for him, because, I would have said I might have wanted to see Gibb versus KSI, but I don't look like that's happening. But again, Gibb versus Salt Pappy is a very good fight. It's a very good fight. Salt Pappy can win. Gibb can win. It's an interesting one. For King Kenny, what's next for King Kenny after that? Could an Ashley Raksu rematch make sense? Possibly. I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. Or, you never know, possibly he could go and rematch face Temper. Or Kenny versus Josh Bruckner. Possibly that could happen. But yeah, I mean, is Kenny kind of exposed there? Yeah, kind of, in my opinion. I mean, if you look at King Kenny, I don't think he's got any massive wins of note, if we're being completely honest. I mean, Whindersson, Nunes, my mate, they're not exactly huge. They're not exactly huge wins, are they? Those two that we're talking about there. The Face Sensei one, he shouldn't have won. It's an interesting one. But Salt Pappy showing he's back, and yeah, Misfits. They need to keep building their stars. And with that win for Salt Pappy over King Kenny there, Salt Pappy's building himself back up. Misfits need Salt Pappy to keep on winning. But I think Gibb probably beats him, thinking about it. And that's another star that Gibb has beat. He beat Slim. And if he does it to Salt Pappy as well, then it makes things really interesting. But, I mean, Salt Pappy can win the fight. It's an interesting one. Anyway, thanks for watching. Speak to you on a bit.